Nice, Larietta. That case, that is true. However, let me start the show with how I feel rather than, well, probably how I look as well, but how I feel.
You forgot your green screen. Were you still green screening your cat, Jerry?
Sorry, what was that?
Were you still green screening your cat?
I know, but I have not put it back up because I've just been so. Honestly, things may be a little quiet on the Lotro side at this point, but there's a lot happening on both game side and in my personal life, so. Holy moly, have I been busy. I have not had moment one to just sort of get caught up on some of the minor tasks I need to do, like put up a green screen back in the stream room. My green screen, by the way. I paid for it myself. Yeah. Not that the company wouldn't buy one if I asked, but I'm one of those folks who just like, I got one, it's fine. So, hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Court of the Rings here on twitch.tv/LotraStream, youtube.com/Lord of the Rings/live, and facebook.com/Lotro. Hopefully everyone can see and hear me okay. As I just said, I am wiped. I am so tired here, so I suspect I probably look how I feel, and so there we are. Welcome to your Friday. Hopefully you have got a pretty casual weekend going on. I know for a lot of folks in the U.S. it was kind of a short work week, maybe an exhausting weekend prior, so this might be the weekend where people get caught up on things. How you doing? Druid's Fire, welcome.
Hi.
All right.
I've been busy not doing, well, sort of doing job things, just, scheduling interviews and stuff like that, so...
Doing, hopefully it turns into a job things.
One hopes, yes.
Yes. Well, that's cool. Like I said, I myself, we got back from Memorial Day in the United States. That was Monday, and just went straight into various work-related things that we needed to do, and we've got a lot going on behind the scenes. I don't know that we have a lot publicly I can talk about, but let me just kind of see what you folks want to ask me about, and if I can answer it, I will. Meanwhile, let me clear out just a little bit of my inventory while I watch these things queue up.
Yeah, we had this inventory management last night. If you didn't know, your the game's former community manager, Sapiens, has now started streaming. Well, actually, because you were there.
I know, because I randomly stumbled across it, and I was like, hey, I know you, Rick. Yeah.
Yeah, so Sapiens was streaming Elotro on his channel, Twitch.tv/Sapiens. And he has forgotten so much about the game, so he's just starting over with a brand new character. And he was having the inventory management thing, and I'm like, oh, please don't throw away rep tokens. we were just in
nice.
The chat wood and whatnot. But I got him killed by the elite warg, the level 15 warg in the Chetwood.
Okay.
But I have to say, unlike the times I get you killed, it was an accident.
Right.
I didn't actually mean to get him killed. I like him.
Yeah, let me just clear out a little inventory, start stacking some runes on the stick that done hit things, otherwise known as Dwinstrel's LI.
So you're using the first ager I sent you?
No, I'm just using, I've got some like heritage runes and stuff just clogging up my inventory. I'm just taking care of that stuff. Oops. So, why is that? Oh, that's the mount speed boost, that's why. I'm trying to get rid of these little faction items. Also, I like the sleigh bell. I have to admit, it's mostly sat in my inventory. But I love the sleigh bell. It's a cool concept. Have you been using it at all?
No.
No.
Nope. Maybe if the sound was more than just a little think.
Yeah.
Think.
Nonetheless, neat idea. So there you go. I'll sort through these. I've got some second and first age items I need to figure out. Maybe I'll have a brief convo with you where we can talk a little bit about, maybe which one I should keep, which one I should get rid of, etc., etc.
Well, generally, if you have slots for it, always slot your second agers and just pick the best one to use.
All right, let me get to a couple of questions. Gracie on Facebook, since last update, as a hunter, you've had issues with your shots delaying before they actually release. Is this a lag issue? That's very interesting. I can't think of hearing a lot of comments on that. Hopefully I haven't missed them. Uh, yeah, I'd really love to see just like a little video clip or something. I think that might help explain what's going on. Whether or not there's something on our end or something, lag related or whatever that we can do. All right, Volsunga, can you add the harder difficulty server we mentioned last week? Well, I mean, can we add it? Theoretically, I have nothing to announce though. I'm not opposed, but not like it's my choice either, right? So it was a cool thing to talk about last week, and maybe. Next, we're going to the Chamber of the Crossroads here.
Well, yep.
Was the last day of beta today? Correct. I don't think we currently have plans for another Bulwark preview. And the one that ended today, that began earlier this week, was both Update 24 and actually a couple of things from Update 24.1 that were, just frankly more work to remove from the build than just sort of keep in there. So that is the current state of things on Bulwark, and I don't think we're going to see another Bulwark before we...
Bori's assault upon Marzog's fortress ended in tragedy, with most of the dwarves slain.
All right, before we end, release Update 24. When is Update 24 coming? Stay tuned. We had some internal technical issues we had to sort through. Those have been sorted through now, but we're playing catch-up on some kind of internal tech issues. As soon as I have a more solid release date for Update 24, though, I'll do my best to let you know. Soon, though. Put you that much. Say that much. We withstood the initial attacks of the orcs, but for how long will our good luck last? Not long enough, I fear. The orcs are simply too numerous. With the support of Dol Guldur, Mazog can surely wage his war long enough to overturn our defenses.
So here's a question for you. Since you recently have done some voice work for the other game, when are we going to have your lovely dulcet tones in this game?
When I sneak into the office some night and make it happen and they don't know about it? No, I have no idea. I suspect that's not going to happen. Not for the Lord of the Rings side. Part of the reason I was able to be lucky enough to do that kind of thing on the DDO side is a combination of my history with that game and opportunity that has come up just rarely because of various bizarre factors. And I don't really see that same kind of thing lining up in Lotra.
So we now have a quest to go talk to Haldir outside.
Geez, is that all the way over in where the Haldir's gear stuff was?
Basically, we got to go out of Moria, down the river, through the woods, to Grandma's house we go. However, your hunter knows the way.
Oh, okay, cool.
Do you have the first hall? Well, we'll find out here in a second. Do you have the first hall unlocked as a stable master?
I guess we'll find out.
Indeed.
Okay, any detail for the new 6-person instance later this summer that I mentioned on the forums? I don't want to spoil the plot of it, but I will reiterate that news for the live stream here today. When we opened up Bulwark, there was some questions about what was sort of in the adventure pack as seen on Bulwark, and we wanted to clarify a thing, to mention that later on, when after Update 24 is released, we're going to do like probably some kind of point update. Pretty typical stuff. And one of those point updates is going to have a new 6-person instance along with some endgame repeatable questing that'll essentially be back added to the adventure pack for the Vales of Anduin. So if you pick up the pack for whatever Update 24 is released in that'll just come included when it's released a little bit later on. But I can't talk about the specific plot point because it probably relates to what's happening in Update 24, and you probably don't want to be spoiled on that. Any chance of getting solo minstrel DPS looked at again? It is painful at lower levels. That's interesting. I'm stuck on a load screen here.
You are stuck on a load screen.
Let me just redo this. This computer is perhaps in need of an update.
I think you need to requisition a new one from Severlin.
I think it's a great idea. Nah, there's just... This computer is actually not terrible. It's a pretty decent Origin, but there's some kind of long-standing hardware issues that this thing has just had enough that since I use it as a public computer, I really should just get a more stable rig going.
Mm-hmm. So, Tripper Dan asked, have you gotten a well-traveled title? Yes, he has.
Okay, yeah.
Also known as Druidspire, leads Cordovan into places that get him killed deliberately.
Nice.
Just wait till I start taking you to all the places that'll get you the Blind Leaper hidden deed.
Is it intentional that task boards in the housing regions are missing the tasks from the newer region, Dwarves? Not sure about the Vales of Anduin, did not check on Bulver. I will need to double check on that, but my gut tells me that that is not intentional. It's probably just an oversight. Assuming that the task boards in the housing regions typically include whatever newer tasks are coming with the pack. It doesn't make sense, in my opinion, that presumably you're talking about update 23 stuff and then now update 24 stuff. Probably should be in there. I'll follow up on that after the show. Great. All right, I'm back in the 21st hall, and there we go.
I see you.
Okay. And yeah, it was so last night I just periodically I'll just type in the games I work for on Twitch and YouTube and see who's doing what. Just kind of get a impromptu status report on, you know, are random people streaming Locher on Twitch? The answer is yes. But also, as part of that last night, I just was like, Sapiens? I know you. That was pretty cool.
So, if you have the first hall open, you can just go right there. Flow 23 Flow, I understand what you're saying, but please don't repeat other people's questions who are also posting them multiple times because it is increasing the spam in the chat, please.
Hey,
However,
Cord,
Jerry will answer everyone.
Did I get a PM about low res walls? Low res walls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall a PM about that. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. Old Syndrome. Okay, Lariana has an answer for the Facebook question regarding the Hunter arrows. It's an old syndrome when your ping is high. The sequence of animation to fire, arrow, bolt flight, and impact animation can get out of sequence. So that just sounds like kind of an unfortunate technical reality of the game engine. Any news on when we get the next major update? When is the release? I can't yet give you a definitive release date, although I will endeavor to do so as soon as I can. But it's coming up pretty soon.
Oh, yeah, Deader, yeah, there was, you answered a thread about the low res walls on the forums the other day.
Did I?
You did.
All right. Well, since I'm clearly aware of what I said recently, I direct you back to that. Yeah. Did I mention I'm a little tired today? But, you know, sometimes we end up kind of having to do so much sort of routing of Q&A that things just sort of pass by.
I got you covered. I found the thread and linked them because they couldn't find the link to the post to answer you.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, it wasn't actually said in his answer, but whoever, if you send locations, please use /loc to get the actual numbers, because the coordinates that you see on the minimap are not optimal for that.
Yeah, I am very sorry to report that when we get bug reports and they only have coordinates, it is pretty difficult to reproduce those bugs. That's not how the internal kind of system works. It's based on the loc, not the internal coordinates.
And Floatiful, I hear you. I totally hear you, but I can't answer the question for you.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm going through chat.
There, right
Yeah.
there. Shamka's question. That is the most important question right now.
Okay,
And
I'm not
please
seeing
answer
it. I'm not seeing it. Let me see. Shamkas, will the 16 new deeds with U24 be available on the legendary server? I don't know.
For a second there, I thought I was going to hear smoke.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to look up that one. I have not yet sought the answer to that question, and I don't know internally, and I don't recall seeing anything saying, oh, and this will also be on the legendary server, although it might not state that in kind of our documentation if the assumption is that it would be. So, just due to general busyness and such, I'm going to have to follow up with you on that. Did you go into the camp?
No, because Haldir's not there.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out where you are. You're a little ahead of me.
I ran down the road because I know where Haldir is. Here.
There we go. I think I know where Haldir is. Because we ran into him earlier.
Uh-huh. Let's keep following the road down. Where are you going?
I'm not following the road. 'Cause roads are for suckers, man. No.
Bloodborne in the chat! Bloodborne was making it rain last night on his channel with tons of Lotro points and real gear giveaways. He's been killing it.
Yeah. I hope it's paying off for you too, Blood. You've got a really cool channel and a really great show going on. So if you haven't been checking it out, what are you waiting for? Free stuff. Yep. What, has he got to knock on your door and come to your house before you start watching his show? No, okay.
Well, I actually could because he lives like across the river from me. I don't know where Blood lives. That's fine. Don't stalk streamers. It's bad. Hey, look! It's Chromite!
Any plans to open up Bulvar on weekends? No. Flat no.
Yiki's also in chat, and Yiki basically said I had to get my minstrel on Honor to 60, and so I did, thanks to the VIP bonus weekend.
So, let me just kind of repeat on this spam issue we're having in chat. It takes me a while to get to your questions, so just because you typed it and a minute goes by does not mean I'm not going to answer your question. I haven't even gotten to that. Now I'm seeing the spam of, oh my god, answer my question. It's fine. I will get to it. Yes, if I can, I will get to it. Bowler hats for war leaders, I promised to investigate. I lied. I did not investigate. However, I am 100% down with that idea. I suspect it probably would not pass muster, but that has never stopped me from thinking something is a great idea. So,
it was folly for them to return to Moria.
whoa, there we go.
It is no small matter to
Yeah, Haldir should have a lot of quests for us because we're in the
Yep.
60s.
evils that dwarves have disturbed within
So here's a question for you, Cord.
Oh.
Do you want to continue the story as we've been playing in Moria, or do you just want to move forward and start doing Lorien content and not continue the Moria episode? I mean,
That's a good
I would always
question.
say do the story.
Yeah,
because-
I would like to continue to do the story. We could talk a little bit, though, later on in the show about some kind of long-term plans we've been talking about. But for now,
Yeah.
let's just, that's actually maybe not a terrible idea to maybe wrap up Moria and then move on to the other thing. Why don't we keep going back to Moria, then?
Okie dokie.
You asked for screenshots on the thread I posted. You couldn't get the link to post on the thread.
Already take care of that.
Okay, you already took care of that. All right.
Yep.
Ah, where did you go?
I took the ladder down
Oh.
to the.
What? Ladder. The heck's my
Yeah,
ladder?
it's hard to see in because of the trees. You know,
Oh
those.
yeah. Can I just fall down? Oh, there we go.
You can try.
Oops.
However, you're the healer, so if you die, you can't help us back. Yeah, where are you? Hang on.
I'm
hold
at the
still,
bottom
hold
of the
still,
ladder.
hold your thing.
That was worth it. Worth it. All right.
Good thing you've got a high elf with you. Death count 1.
Lightning mentions about 6 months ago you asked for a reset button in the search UI of the auction hall. Is this being implemented within the next 6 months? Probably not. Is it something we would like to do, though, and probably will do when we get to, say, any sort of wider scope UI update? I do think that a way to more quickly clear the auction house search bar makes a lot of sense. So I would not, and I'm pretty sure we've got that over on the other game side. So it's probably not, I don't want to say trivial because I don't know. A lot of these engineering things you'd think might be, but then because the two games operate on different engines, sometimes things that seem easy for one are surprisingly challenging for another. I don't know where this fits into that. But I do think that that is something that will almost certainly happen when we do some kind of wider UI update. However, I would not expect that within the next 6 months.
Everybody gets steak for dinner except you, Jerry, because you are a vegetarian. You get fake steak.
Yerk. 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 I'm trying to figure out how they best say yerk. Here, have a headbutt, Moria Orc Ranger.
So you really like that session play where you get to play Ori and you know, do that one quest where you get to use headbutt and it actually has some damage to it.
Yep.
I enjoyed it too.
Yep. I think the next class should be the headbutt class.
Works for me. I'm actually reminded in chat by the presence of some of our French people that Deco de Milia is in the middle of a housing contest right now, and a couple of us official streamers, myself and Vibro Jedi, have been tasked with being on the jury, but the public can also vote for the best housing options in the contest.
Yeah.
It's actually a really interesting contest.
It is a super interesting contest. One of the challenges if you don't read French can be maybe getting some of the rules of the contest and that. But I'm pretty sure it's open to anyone on Crick Hollow, so I would...
No, it's open to anybody.
Oh, anyone just plain old anybody? Okay. I know D and
forgot the
Co
board.
du Milieu, or however you say it,
Deco de Milia.
like I said, D and Co du Milieu, or however you say that. Sorry,
Deco, like
I can't do it.
decorations.
Deco du Milieu? Something like that?
Deco de Milia.
Du
You know,
Milieu.
we're gonna have French Girl Gaming teach you how to speak French.
Oh God,
Oh, yes.
no.
Oh yes, she'll teach you the cuss words too.
Okay.
Actually, I could too.
Yeah. Enough said, I guess. I'm bad at languages. I barely speak English. I
Bloodborne
guess.
asked a very important question. I actually want to know more about that myself.
All right, I will get to it in just a second here. So I did want to, though, get to another question that Shamkus asked that I can talk a little bit more about, which is there any way to gain Virtue XP on the Legendary server except for festivals when you have all of the deeds done? The answer to that is absolutely yes. There are things that are already in the Bull Roar release notes that provide some of those other ways to you. And there's more coming, regarding kind of our Virtue XP stuff that hopefully we'll have more info on. So you'll start to see the numbers. But the answer is yes. On legendary servers, you won't just have to do festivals when you have all of the deeds done.
These leaves are getting on my nerves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I may have to bring this up to an artist. You realize your ladder is impossible to reach or click on? What's the name
not
of
impossible,
Fake
just hidden.
Steak? I don't know that I actually have seen a branded name of Fake Steak. Are you still porting?
No. I'm right here on the flat. Did you go back down?
Yeah, should I not be?
Okay, we need to go back. Actually, let me come down to meet you, and then we'll port to the 21st because
Okay.
we're gonna go
Yeah, I
back
was just
in
saying that.
Memoria.
Oh, thanks, Kales. Yeah, I'm sorry I mangled French. I learned I could do a little Spanish, but like kind of accents and that are a challenge for me. One of the things I'm always so most impressed, just from like a craft perspective, is when you see like American actors doing other accents and vice versa, and when you're like, wow, that guy sounds like an American, even though he's totally not, and you see an interview and it's like, wow, you really know how to shift like inflection and things in a way that just eludes me.
Oh, sometimes it doesn't go well. I was once in the UK when I was doing a study abroad many years ago, and Brian Blessed was in The Wizard of Oz. His wife was playing the Wicked Witch, which she's the nicest lady on the planet. And the actress they had playing Dorothy sounded an American act. She didn't sound well. She sounded like she's from Texas, not Kansas. And it was to an American. It was very hilarious. So sometimes they get it right, but they're generally better at our accents than we are at theirs.
Okay. Can I tell us when the next X-Pack will be released for the legendary servers? Well, I can say that we're generally following our stated timeline, and that the Mirkwood stuff is next. So kind of do your own math on that if you want to, and then stay tuned for more information.
Yes, Cold Cash, exactly like that.
Will there ever be an option to transfer EU to US and vice versa? Sorry, that's another flat no, never. Sorry. There are serious technical and other reasons why it will never be possible.
At the command
And I
of
apologize
Lady
for that.
Galadriel, we stand against the evil in the depths. Marzog has sent orcs into the abyss to seek allies for his master.
Oh, I'm totally getting the Warden Shield.
We may have need
I
of
love the
your
Warden Shields for this quest.
if you offer it willingly.
Mind my words, traveler.
Okay.
We need to go kill some orcs. Lots and lots of them.
I've been getting, I see a bunch of fairly technical questions about the Virtue revamp that I'm not really in a position to just kind of answer off the top of my head. One of the things we want to be really careful on with this Virtue revamp is to make sure we get you as accurate information as we can. So stay tuned for more of that kind of stuff in the release notes and through that sort of thing. Maybe we can even get a little Q&A done at some point. What do you mean? So, Darnolf, can you explain what you mean by the question, Virtue XP buffs as for XP as well, question mark? What do you mean by that? I don't understand that question, but it sounds like something I might be able to answer. So, I am not necessarily aware of immediate plans to offer new sources of ways to boost virtue XP. If that changes, though, I will let you know. I think that answers your question. So I think if the question is, will an existing thing work with the new thing, then the answer is probably yes, it'll be some kind of conversion method. If the answer is, will we introduce a new thing on top of the new thing, then the answer is maybe we'll see how it goes. Does that answer it? I guess, kind of. In regards to class balance, will all classes eventually get a pass? Probably. We've always said on class balance that there is no deadline for this. And there never really, even if you wanted to make a deadline, you'd be fooling yourself. Game balance work is a never-ending, moving goal. And about the time you think you've achieved it, it lasts about 5 minutes and then something else comes along. So, you know. But are there kind of, shall we say, maybe like kind of wider intentions to do a little bit for everyone who needs it? Yes. That's the goal. Why do we not separate out quest packs with instance clusters in the Lotro store anymore? It's just a kind of a business decision that we've made based on sort of buying patterns and things like that. I appreciate that for you, Soft Snake, perhaps you don't necessarily see value in the instances due to being a primarily solo player. But that is just sort of the way that makes the most sense for us, so. I think perhaps for, well, nah. I'm not going to say that. Sorry. I was going to say, you can buy it in the Lotro store. You can earn it through DDO points, et cetera, et cetera.
Lotro points.
Yep. And if the value proposition of making a direct purchase in the DDO store isn't something you wish to do, then you may wish to look at other options. I've just got to take care of this little garage bog laborer. Headbutt.
Big bad dwarf picking on a little bug.
Okay, yeah, so I saw your question, Madman Thief, earlier, which is why the heal over time was cut from Mischievous Glee Delight on Yellow Burglar when all that was needed was to have it turned into a percent heal. I don't know the why. That would ultimately be a question for a designer as to why they opted for one design decision over another. I don't have infinite psychic ability on that kind of thing, right? I have not personally heard that I can think of any kind of why this over that was given. If I recall, God, I don't even want to recall because I'm already in my head conflating two things. Yeah, I don't know. I'd just have to ask the dev who did the change. It was a decision made. We do not currently have an Update 24 trailer. So I don't think we're going to get an Update 24 trailer this time. I would not be at all surprised if we ended up having something for Minas Morgul, however. So, perhaps that's... I still have 8 orcs.
I as well.
I say DDO points instead of Lotro points.
You said DDO store instead of Lotro store. Twice. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's fine, Jerry. We know which game is your
Go
favorite.
me. Go me.
Child.
No, my brain. I am so scatterbrained right now. I have to be
Woo,
honest. I should
thanks,
not be
Jesus.
answering any questions. So, I promise you all, if I say something controversial, I'm an idiot today.
We can start actually wandering our way back because the mobs we need will start respawning.
Sorry, what was that? Oh, we just wait for the mobs to respawn? Okay.
Yeah, so we could just start running back.
Eric over on YouTube, the idea of a, quote, classic-style Lotro server is clearly something that, you know, is hip right now to think about. We don't have anything to announce, though.
You know,
Need
I'd
the
be
60
afraid of
oh, sorry.
Blood Bell and Yiki did a trailer. Be very afraid.
Someone else on YouTube saying, or no, this is actually Facebook. Need the 64-bit client soon, please? Yes. The 64-bit client is coming with Update 24. Note, because I've already seen some people, you know, not do this on Bullroar, this is an opt-in on 64. So when Update 24 launches, if you want to run the 64-bit client version, you will flip the switch on the launcher options to run in 64-bit. By default, it's going to run in 32-bit because of compatibility, right? So if you're on a 30-bit computer and we try to serve you 64-bit, it'd be like, say what? But if you're on a 64-bit client, you can run the 32. So by default, it'll still be 32. You'll flip it over when Update 24 goes live, and you'll have a 64-bit client. You hope there will be a pre-purchase for the next expansion similar to Mordor. I would say that is a pretty safe bet, Leabella. That's, you know, unless we have reasons to probably operate otherwise. I think the kind of expansion pattern we've been establishing here under SSG is going to remain stable for the foreseeable future. Will plugins work for the 64-bit client? I cannot, as an official representative of SSG, guarantee that all third-party plugins will work with the 64-bit client. It is likely that many, if not most, will. It is also likely that there may be some that mostly work that will need some additional work from their folks to perhaps optimize, and there may be some unfortunate incompatibilities with us, although we have not really seen anything too much along those lines. Once we added the kind of Lua script support, and was it Bullroar 2, I've only been kind of hearing a little bit of sort of random anecdotal stuff on a few things, and I've not seen a lot of kind of widespread plugins don't work kind of conversation. So if that is not correct, let me know. But I think that is the current state of things. Oh, Bloodborne. No, there was not an answer in the kinship question, only because I haven't gotten to it yet. Bloodborne had asked, in the producer's letter, we had stated our hope to do some kinship work. What's basically the deal with that? The deal with that is it's still on the agenda. We've been doing some planning meetings and all that, like we always do, and it's something we want to get to. Hard to say when we're going to formally commit to something like that, but it was put in the producer's letter because it's something we want to do. So I would say odds are good, but I couldn't tell you exactly when.
You're done dinged.
Yay! I dinged last time too. We've been pulling about a level a day. We still got about 15 minutes. We could probably play Selfstones and Abyss Cracks. Now, check the map, see where that's supposed to be. Okay, basically just a little bit off to the northwest.
Yep.
Oops. So where did you go? Oh, there we go. Oh, that staircase. Yep.
Darnolf has the one thing I wish I had the most for kinships is invite by mail. I remember, speaking of the kinship update, I remember after the producer's letter, it was something that I'd asked Severlin during my interview back in April, and he had been doing executive producer stuff and could not be in the meeting, so he had no info to give us on an update, so, yeah.
All right. Do we get down? Yeah, here we go. What? No? Do we just drop?
I think... Well, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can.
Why am I not seeing the way down?
Because you're going the wrong way. Well, you're going the right way now. But yeah, Madman Thief remembers, as those of us who play both games, that, yeah, once your guild over there, which is the same as a kinship, more or less, hits a certain level in the system, you can then send a guild invite by mail.
Yeah. And that is an anti-spam function in terms of the level gaining. Because you wouldn't want someone to be able to create up a guild after guild after guild and just start spamming rude guild names or something at people.
People create rude guild names? What?
Not on the internet. Yeah. I like... It's an interesting idea, Vorish Sokar, about creating a pocket item to complement the stone... Oops. Okay.
You made friends.
Yeah. To complement the Stone of the Tortoise, essentially basically make a version of the legendary story pace into a Stone of the Tortoise item that would be a second kind of Stone of the Tortoise item that we could offer on the live worlds. I think if there is enough interest in something like that, it's something we could do. I don't know that I've personally heard a lot of clamoring for that, but...
If you die, my res is on cooldown.
Because you're basically just saying, can we split the difference between the Stone of the Tortoise and regular XP? So that you get some XP, but not everything. Like I say, it's not a terrible idea, certainly. I just don't know that there's a lot of interest in it, but... Yeah, you could. That is another way you could kind of solve the quote anti-spam issue, is to have a situation where you would only accept kinship mail invites you could only send them if they were on your friends list. That's another way you could do it too. I don't know which is more or less convenient. Probably kind of personal opinion on that one.
I never really had a problem with it on the other side, getting random guild invites.
No, it's because we have that level gating system in place.
But even so, I mean, none of my lobby questing alts ever just got a random guild invite before my guild got the
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested to see if we get something similar to guild
The light
buffs
of Iolantha's star brings
on the
hope
kin
to
house or something like that.
We must find new
You know, you raise a very good question and a philosophical one that we could probably fill an hour theory crafting on. But it is an interesting idea of how much of, say, more of the kind of gamification style system that the other game has would be desirable on the part of the community for the Lord of the Rings side, and probably vice versa, right? I think you're probably opening up a big discussion there in terms of, do people kind of like the more, let's just say, less gated version of kinships, or a more direct gameplay impacting thing like DDO has? Because on DDO, as you get up, you get buffs and all sorts of things that like increase
And your guild
numbers.
leader goes
Yeah.
broke
Yeah.
buying them for your guild.
Yep. But just speaking as someone who's played that game for a long time, I guarantee it, nobody wants that system changed. People love their guild buffs. And I think there's a possibility that people in Lotro might love those guild buffs too, but I also think there might be some people who kind of prefer a system that is less
Grindy!
and perhaps less perceived as required.
Yeah, I think since I play both and I have some experience with both, I would have to say it would be nice, but I think the Lotro guilds might there's definitely going to be some tension in terms of, I'm not in a big guild, therefore we don't have all the cool things, because some of those amenities are kind of freaking expensive.
Yeah.
Gumskang is in my
I don't know
guild.
that they're that expensive. Most of them can be purchased with plat, but whatever. We don't need to get into theory talk about a game that isn't this one. So
one of the things I would like to see that the other game does is, when the guild hits a specific level, there is a server-wide announcement of this thing, and it that would take a grind to get to, but it would be kind of cool something to.
yeah, it's especially great if you want to troll rename your guild to something like John says hi, and then basically just sit there on the edge of the announcement for a while until we made it once per guild. That was pretty fun.
Just keep riding. We'll make friends, and they'll eventually leave us alone.
Where are we actually headed to?
The bottom of the lake. Over here. Make a whole bunch of friends, and then we'll just kill them.
Okay.
Been playing my minstrel so long over the weekend, I forgot I had 2 self-heals in this character.
I'm in that couple of months of my year where my personal game time goes to near zero, unfortunately.
But you've got an active 7-year-old to look after for the next couple months.
Exactly.
My favorite demolitions expert.
Yep. Okay, let me try to get back to some questions here while we sit here a second. Is
Yep.
there a list of plugins available for the client? I don't know of. Do you know if there a comprehensive, say, like wiki link or something like that that is like, here are all the available plugins to Lotro?
Surprising you should ask that, Cordovan. Look at that in chat. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
We can ride around to the Endless Stair to finish that segment of the quest real quick.
Okay. Oh, here we go. You can use this program to manage your plugins. It's lotrointerface.com. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
And there's a Lotro plugin compendium. Might be
That you can
worth doing a
download.
search. Yeah.
I don't know if they have a Mac version, but the Windows version is pretty comprehensive and up to date. You got to take a long ride back.
K-Wolf, I personally just wanted to say that I too have made that conclusion. Oh, where are you? I'm totally
I
lost
went
now.
up the hill and hung a right,
Okay, up the hill.
and just got dismounted by a
Hung a
troll.
right. There we go. I too have made that analysis that we should lower the cooldown because of the craft, in part because of the crafting
Yes, please.
station. I don't. That's something that I will see if we can kind of get through the process. I can't promise that, but yeah,
Can I help? Help?
totally we
help?
need to do that. I'm working on it. I'm slow. Oh no, I'm slow and now I'm gonna die unless I can res you. And I can res you if I can remember how. I never res. Where's my res? Where's my res? I don't even know where my res. Do I not have my res?
You
There we go.
probably don't, but hey, I rest myself.
Oh, okay. I do. I just have not used it much, so. I guess I just
Heal
kind of prefer
yourself.
dying. Yep. Yeah, I can
Hang
revive
on,
for
sit
free.
tight, don't do anything. Or you can, yeah, do that.
Yep. I am not, as far as I'm aware, holding back any major announcements, Lariana. We're really in that period where we're putting the final touches on Update 24, making sure that all that's getting essentially ready to go. We are working on... Well, I don't want to say we're working on. That's a loaded word.
Considering?
We have been having some pretty significant discussions about, quote, what to do about Scrolls of Empowerment. But that's too big a piece of news to drop at the end of the show here. Plus, it's not ready yet. But we have been discussing that this week.
Hi, Helga Marie.
Oh, wrong way?
Oh, you went the right way. I did
okay.
not.
Oh, okay. What?
You
I
know,
went the
when
right way and you
Fozzie-
didn't? That can't happen. That doesn't happen too often.
No, I was gonna lead you down to a den of bad guys. Just keep running. Just keep running.
I just keep running?
Just keep running. They'll eventually de-aggro.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if I could outpace him outside of my mount.
Oh yeah,
So they knocked me off.
do it all the time. Hey, it's Galdwin. We've been running into like a lot of people in game that I know from chat. Like we ran into Maida St. Joan earlier. Then again, I saw Lorena when I was streaming last week.
Let me
Or
actually
this
put out a little shout out here. So just in recent weeks, as tends to happen, we've had a little bit of a seasonal ebb and flow on Lotro Stream in terms of who can stream, who can commit, who wants to step back for a little while. Just it happens, right? It's the whole intention of Lotro Stream is not to be yes, and now you have signed a lifelong commitment, right? So,
We haven't? What?
Well,
signed a
everyone except for
contract in
you.
blood.
Everyone except for you.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, I mean, it's things
But the
like.
long and short of it is, we got openings. So if
Come
you
join
are
us,
a Lotro
yippee.
streamer and you're interested, you can hit up Lotro on Twitter. You can hit up me on the forums. Just generally what I ask is give me a link to a couple of the videos you've done. And just kind of explain a little bit maybe what you have in mind. Are you looking for like maybe a couple months, kind of a longer term, weekly thing? You know, what are your plans? And assuming you've got a what I would call basic level of proficiency with being able to run a live stream, we are generally pretty happy to get you on board. So, and if your content isn't, suitable for an official channel stream.
Yeah, no cussing in Sindarin.
Yeah. Well, you could probably get away with that. I'm not encouraging you. I'm just saying I probably wouldn't catch it. So, yeah.
And there's always, good reasons why somebody would step back, like Agent Brigman and her fiance are expected.
Yeah. Yeah, we just had a couple of just kind of random things come together that have led to some openings on the stream as of this week. So that's pretty cool, though. That means that there's room for you if you want it. So
We're going to do this the weird way. I'm going to port us back to the 21st, and then we can take the swift travel back to the Shadowed Refuge.
what is Lotro's stance on, quote, copyrighted music for YouTube videos? There is, in the Daybreak Terms of Service, explicit permission for kind of limited use related to things like monetization of YouTube videos on that. Oh, where are we going?
A Shadowed Refuge, please.
A Shadowed Refuge, okay. There is explicit limited permission granted in the Daybreak Terms of Service for most of the most common things you were likely to run into. Can I use a screenshot I took from Lotro for X, like my YouTube banner or something like that? The answer is all that. And there's even limited monetization that is permitted under the Daybreak Terms of Service. So read that. That should answer your questions. Now, just kind of very colloquially, I would say that typically if you're playing other people's copyrighted music on your YouTube channel, even if it's not us getting you in trouble, which it probably wouldn't be, it'd probably be far more likely to simply be YouTube doing its thing. And that we have no control over, and in general, it's probably in 2019 a really terrible idea to try to use copyrighted music on your personal channel. But it won't be me stopping
around.
you. Yep. Oh, actually, I need to talk to
around.
Powder here. I know, I need to talk to Powder here.
Greetings, friend.
There we go.
Could I speak with you a moment?
I realized I
Oh,
was
you're doing
standing
the
right
side
next to the
quest.
minstrel quest, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just did that the other night. It
Yep.
was fun.
There we go. You know, one of the things that, like, you see this on Twitch, actually, and this really is just more kind of personal observation, but when Twitch first came about, you still see sometimes people playing a lot of copyrighted music under their streams. And increasingly, those people are finding themselves unable to use the content afterwards very well. Either it gets muted by various programs, or it just simply gets flagged, things like that. So
Yeah.
even though there's kind of a culture still of being, quote, people doing it, using like
Where
their
are you
favorite.
going?
I have no idea where I'm going. Where am I going? I'm
Come
talking
back up
and
to
moving.
the Shadowed Refuge.
Yep.
You need to come into that little alcove before you go down the ramp.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because I thought I saw you coming up the ramp.
No, you saw me dismount from the stable mount early and start heading where we need to go.
Okay.
Everil, speaking of things getting dinged by YouTube, every single one of Lotro concerts I up to YouTube, I get a copyright mention, and it's generally a case of, you just can't monetize this video. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, typically, like, for my personal channel stuff, I don't play copyrighted music on my own channel, but if I did, I'd be full well aware that I'm basically saying, hey, enjoy this now, because you're probably not going to see it again. We'll stop here. So This makes
Yep,
sense.
I have to.
No. So, Phil Boswell, let me just say, I have not run into very many issues at all with Lord of the Rings online music triggering any sort of copyright. The one exception to that is years ago, when I recall YouTube first rolling out some of their automated kind of crackdown stuff, that some of the Warner Brothers music stuff would get flagged inappropriately. But I believe that that's largely been taken care of now. Certainly anything that I've uploaded to as like soundtracks onto our YouTube page and all that sort of thing, you are perfectly fine to use. In general, you're perfectly fine to use any in-game Lotro music that we create for your Lotro streams, videos, things like that. And for the most part, we really don't care elsewhere either, unless you're trying to make a bunch of money on it. But formally, I need to direct you to the terms of service and encourage your attorney to speak with you about the specifics if you have any questions.
I think actually this came up in Rick's stream last night. Somebody had gotten their video flagged they were doing like a gameplay video of Lotro, I guess, and we're playing Chance's music and it got dinged. But I think that was a while ago, and Chance's stuff I think has been moved off of we're going to automatically ding it sort of thing.
Yes, Ponton. If I can issue one directive personally to the Lotro music community, stop playing Led Zeppelin. What is wrong with you folks? Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have to actually do some jiggling of the Lonely Mountain Band live performance because John decided to play a bit of the Battle for Evermore. I'm like, oh, geez, no, I can't upload this.
Beatles, too. In-game music should be fine, etc., etc.
Yiki, Wayward Plane has had that problem happen too.
Yeah.
But I see my friend Grifflet has come online, so I think we're taking up the professor's time.
Yeah, I know.
Hi,
I
Corey.
don't want to take too much time here. I just want to make sure I get to any kind of final questions here. I like your discussion, Amanda, on sort of economic things, but I think that we're going to have to pause that till the next show. Any discussion about revisiting loot boxes? You have filtered them out, and you don't have the space to store them. We're certainly open to your feedback on it. I think in terms of the structure we announced, a year and a half or so ago now, I don't believe that fundamentally we're going to be making any changes to that. But kind of tweaking things like drop rates and things like that. Sure, if you've gotten a feeling on it, just let us know. We'll see what we can do there. And finally, nothing to announce on PvMP at the moment. Just because I have not yet said that yet today. But I will do my best. All right, there we go. Thank you very much for watching Court of the Rings. We have got Corey Olsen up next. Now, of Inside Edition fame, Corey Olsen. Yeah. But, and then also, you're going to be on later this afternoon.
Indeed,
and
I
believe,
haven't yet.
is it, look at the schedule, Tesla's usually on, right?
Yep, Tesla will be on at 6, Big Ed at 10.
And I believe...
And later this year, Elda is moving to 8 on Fridays. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of shifts happening. So keep an eye on the calendar. I'm going to try to get that updated within the next couple of days here. And thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for playing. And I'll talk to you again soon. Have fun.